So after several weeks now, we are going to restart the new book that we had started, which was Minhaj al-Qasidin. And we had just barely begun on the first chapter. The first chapter, so that book is divided into 4 different sections. The first section is called Rub' al-Ibadat. It is a quarter of acts of worship. Okay? And this book just doesn't talk about the hows of worship, it talks about more of the why of worship. Does that make sense? Not how you're going to pray, but why should you pray, right? Not how you fast, but why you fast. So this is why this is a book of tazkiyah. It helps you, talks about the virtues of salah, virtues of fasting, virtues of zakah, and those kinds of things, inshallah. But this first chapter is not about worship at all. It's actually something much more important than worship. What is that? Knowledge. Knowing what? First and foremost, knowing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who He is. Because unless you don't know, I mean, anybody can make the motions and anybody can, stop eating and drinking and pay charity without any regard to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That doesn't necessarily is accepted, right? It's not accepted. It's not for the sake of Allah. You're just doing it. You're just going through the motions. So unless you know who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is and you are worshipping Him with that knowledge, that is what brings meaning to our acts. So all scholars, most books of anything start with knowledge. This is how important knowledge is. So the section, inshallah, we started on, I'll just quickly summarize. For example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, قُلْ هَلْ يَسْتَوِي الَّذِينَ يَعْلَمُونَ وَالَّذِينَ يَعْلَمُونَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, are the people who know, meaning those who have knowledge, and those who have knowledge, are they the same? No, they're not. Meaning, those who know Allah, who He truly is, and understand His attributes, understand the ability of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and His transcendence, and His infinitude in everything. Unless you know that and appreciate that, is that person who doesn't know that the same as the person who actually knows? Absolutely not. So this is what the chapter starts with. And then we also covered another Quranic ayah where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, يَرْفَعِ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مِنْكُمْ وَالَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْعِلْمَ دَرَجَاتٍ. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in this surah, in Surah Mujadala, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala raises people in ranks 2 ways. Those who believe, and then they have knowledge. So people who have knowledge have a higher station, and then we read the famous hadith. Actually, now I have actually in the scholarly tradition, in the tradition of our deen, tradition of our scholars, rahimahumullah. Usually, if there's a teacher, there's a student who is reading from the book, and then they read the book, and then the teacher then explains. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm kind of cheating. I'm not showing off that I'm not saying I'm a teacher. I'm cheating because I have to kind of read 2 books, and he will help me greatly by reading the English part for you guys, and then I can easily come and explain and read the Arabic as well, and I can follow the book in Arabic. So that will make this lesson a little bit more well-rounded, per se. Make sense? Everybody good? Any questions? Okay. All right. Bismillah. That paragraph that you.
Okay. So, in another hadith, the Prophet ﷺ said, the superiority of the scholar over the worshipper is like the superiority of the full moon over the rest of the planets. The scholars are the heirs of the prophets. The prophets do not leave behind wealth for inheritance. Rather, they leave behind knowledge. Whoever acquires this knowledge acquire abundant good fortune.
Okay, great. So, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, فَضْلُ الْعَالِمِ عَلَى الْعَابِدِ كَفَضْلِ عَلَى أَدْنَاكُمْ. The people of knowledge have a degree, a station that is much higher of those who are even, if you are all day long worshipping, doing ibadah, doing nawafil, praying qiyam, fasting all day long, praying salat ishraq and duha and whatever you want to do, and you're doing nawafil all day long, you are still not equal to a person who has knowledge. That is what Rasulullah says. Here, I hope that today's lesson is going to encourage all of us to start to seek knowledge. So that is the goal of actually this chapter, and talk about the virtue and the importance of having knowledge, inshallah. Then Rasulullah said that the Inna al-ulama warathatul anbiya. The scholars are the inheritors of the prophets. How so? Because the prophets, they came and now alayhimus salam, they're passed away. Who is taking their knowledge and then teaching people and showing them the guidance and educating them, the generation after generation after generation, or helping explain something that they're confused about? It is the scholars. So the job of the scholars is messengers, the junior messengers essentially. So Rasulullah says, al-ulama warathatul anbiya. The ulama are the inheritors of the prophets, alayhi salam. And in the same hadith, Rasulullah also said that the scholars, they don't leave behind money and charity as inheritance. What do they leave behind?
Knowledge.
Okay, continue.
Safwan ibn Asal radiallahu anhu narrated that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "The angels lower their wings in humility to the seeker of Islamic knowledge, in appreciation to the knowledge they seek."
Yeah.
In his commentary on this hadith, Al-Khattabi said, there are three different views interpreting the meaning of angels lowering the wings, as follows. The first view is that the angels would spread their wings. The second view is to indicate showing humility to honor the student of knowledge. The third view states that the angels stop flying and descend to witness and attend the knowledge session.
Yeah. So we all understand that in circles of knowledge, angels are around. In masajid, angels are around. They're making dhikr, they're making a dua for the people. We all understand that. Very similar narration here. But this is specifically about knowledge. So the angels lower their wings for the seeker of knowledge. All of you all. There's angels that are lowering their wings. Now then, Ibn Qudama, who is the author of this book, he is saying, what does that mean? What could that mean? Then the meaning number one he brings is that the angels kind of, instead of being like this, they're like this. Or they spread, okay? Either they lower their wings and they're humble, or they're spreading their wings to bring sakina and mercy and tranquility to people. Making sense? So they're like covering us, inshallah ta'ala.
Sure.
And there's angels over here, inshallah. I hope Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enable us to feel their presence. Okay, then the second meaning, he says that that the angels are lowering their wings out of humility for the seeker of knowledge. Like, out of humility. You know, in our khutbah today we talked about lowering the wings. You know, when your wings are high, that means that you want to strut and you want to pose and you're like, I'm strong and I can fly. Like, angels are not doing that. They're lowering their wings as in, I'm here to bring you peace. I'm here to make dua for you. That's what it means. So that's the second meaning. So the first meaning was, they're just covering us with mercy. The second meaning is, they're humbling themselves for the seekers of knowledge. You guys. Me. Right? And three, that أن المراد به النزول عند المجالس العلم وترك الطيران. That they are actually lowering their wings, as in they're no longer flying around. They're actually coming and sitting down like students, and they also want to learn. That's what it means. So Ibn Qudama is explaining this hadith this way. Does it make sense? Any questions? Okay, good, continue.
Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu reported, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, whoever treads on a path in search of Islamic knowledge, Allah will ease the way to paradise for him.
Exactly. Yeah. من سلك طريقا يلتمس فيه علما سهل الله له طريقا إلى الجنة. Whoever attempts and embarks on seeking knowledge, Allah makes Jannah easy for them. What does that mean? Seeking knowledge is not easy. So Allah will make Jannah easy for them, as in, this is such a hard thing. This is an extremely hard thing to do, is to seek knowledge. You can get started, but it can take you decades. Wallahi, ask me. It can take you decades and decades and decades, and you feel like you're still an infant and a baby when it comes to having knowledge. Wallah. Sidebar. Not from this book, from me. There is a concept over there where you guys may have heard, a little bit of knowledge is very dangerous. Do you know why they say that? Have you heard that before? Yeah? The reason is because a little bit of, you know how kids when they grow up, like mashallah our kids over here, some of them are at that age, they're learning new things and they're like, oh, I know so much more about the world. My parents are idiots, they don't know this, they don't know my slang, I can fool them. I know so much more than them, they don't even know how to speak English, and you know, whatever. So, they have what? A little bit of knowledge. So, with a little bit of knowledge, you get the sense that now you are smarter than other people. Right? Let's say that you start to learn tajweed, and your friends, they don't know any tajweed. Okay? And you're like, oh, I know so much more than them. So suddenly you're going to think what? I have a lot of knowledge and now I'm an expert. Right? Knowledge is like an ocean. Okay? The more further you go, the deeper it gets. So pretty soon those people will realize that it's called, the psychologists, they call that Mount Stupid. Like if you have a lot of knowledge, you know, the first year of Islamic school you're in, and you're reading all these books and you're learning about the fundamental sciences of hadith and aqidah and all of this, and you know the tafsir of the Quran, suddenly you're going to go, oh man, I know so much, I can give duroos, and I can look so smart in front of people, and look how much I know, and you're going to go, ha, you think I don't know? Of course I know. And you're going to be all arrogant about it. But the more you learn, the more you realize how much is there to learn. There's so much that you are going to feel inferior. So that Mount Stupid, then you crash. And then that happened to me. Wallahi, I crashed like really fast, and I realized, oh my God, I haven't even, maybe I know like a grain of sand is from the desert. From the Sahara Desert, all I know maybe is a grain of sand. And that humility, that brings humility. So just a warning, everybody goes through that. And inshallah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us aware of that and we don't reach Mount Stupid, inshallah. Okay, continue. That was just for me.
It was supposedly reported that the Prophet ﷺ also said, whomever death overtakes while they are engaged in acquiring Islamic knowledge with a view to reviving Islam with the help of it, there will be only 1 degree between him and the prophets in paradise.
So this is a very weak hadith, but we will read it for the sake of it. That, as you heard, that if you are striving for knowledge and you die, when you die you're considered a martyr, and the difference between you and the levels of the Prophet is just by 1 degree. Okay? May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala even make it more. It's a weak hadith, but the most important one is really what? You seek knowledge to benefit others. You benefit yourself first and then benefit others. You put the oxygen mask on you first and then you put the oxygen mask on your children, right? On the others, right? You got to put the oxygen mask on you first. Oftentimes we start putting oxygen masks on other people because we think we don't need oxygen. Wallah, you know you need oxygen more than most people probably, if you think like that. SubhanAllah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us wisdom. Okay, so we can move on to the next one.
Some of the wise people used to say, I wish those who did not acquire knowledge knew what they were missing, for the ones who acquired the knowledge have gained everything. Yeah. So this is one of the scholars, he doesn't name them. They say, you have no idea what you're missing if you're not seeking knowledge. Because if you are gaining something, then you think you gained a lot, like money, wealth, job, respect from other people, for the worldly gains, etc. And if you're not seeking the divine knowledge, then you have no idea what you're missing, because if you had any idea, you'd be chasing that instead. Keep in mind, this book was written at least, I think, about 800 years ago or 1,000 years ago. I forget my history of Ibn Qudama when he was alive, rahimahullah. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continues to benefit from his knowledge to us. But I lost my train of thought, excuse me, 1 second. Yes. At his time, all of the Musallin, all of the students, who were they? Arab speaking. They were Arabs, right? Or Arab, they're not Arabs, but they spoke Arabic. They understood Arabic. So what is automatically assumed? That at least during Ramadan, they're listening to the Quran and they're at least annually reviewing the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala word for word. Maybe most Arab speakers don't understand word for word Quran, but they, I would say, understand 80-90%. Is that correct, Sheikh? Yeah, that's correct. Okay. So they don't understand 100% of it because it's classical Arabic. At least they know. And when they're coming across hadith and khutub and all of this, they don't need translators. They're already, you kind of understand from the lingo, from the language, what is being communicated. Compare and this book is being written to actually encourage knowledge to people who already know Arabic. They have access to all these books that are at our disposal right now. What about our state right now? Think about it. How far away we are. So I know we're talking about knowledge. There's a lot of books over here to seek knowledge that you can seek help from. But the number one thing I advise you, there's nothing more important than who can help you.
Seeking knowledge.
Seeking knowledge of
The
Quran. It's the only manual you need. It's the only guidance you need. And we don't even try to touch it. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enable us. I'm here. Okay? I'm here, ask me. Please ask me. Please ask me. Ask me to help you. I will drop everything to help you. Understand the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His guidance. Okay. Go ahead.
From the merits of teaching is what has been mentioned in the two Sahihs, wherein Sahal ibn Sa'd radiallahu anhu narrated that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said to Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu, by Allah, for Allah to guide one man by you is better for you than red camels.
Yeah. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is telling Ali radiallahu anhu, right? First of all, so this is a hadith sahih. Okay, let's just stay with this one. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, when you teach somebody, now we've gone from importance of knowledge to now importance of teaching knowledge. So teaching even one person is worth red camels. Let me help you understand what that means, the gravity of that statement. Maybe we don't appreciate it. Camels at the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam were like Ferraris in your driveway.
It's a wealth.
Okay? One camel. And by the way, people slaughter camels for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So literally they're giving away the Ferraris, right? Okay, that's one camel. Just to give you another idea. What is the diya? What is the diya for when somebody kills somebody? What do they have to pay in compensation? 100 camels. How many? 100 Ferraris. Okay? For one taking away one person's life. I'm just helping you understand the value. Red camel. Rare. Extremely rare. So imagine how much one red camel is going to be worth. Right? You can't really put a price on it. A red camel. Here, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is telling Ali radiallahu anh, teaching one person knowledge, one person. So Sheikh was just talking about that one teacher who used to come just for one student.
Yeah, one
right?
student, yep.
Teaching knowledge to one person is worth all red camels that ever existed. SubhanAllah. You understand now the gravity of this hadith? SubhanAllah. Continue.
Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma. That's what it says.
It's okay. Yeah, Anhuma is good. You know what? By the way, yeah. Ibn Abbas, when you say Ibn Abbas, English talib, okay? Okay. Ibn Abbas, why do we, typically after Sahaba we say, radiyallahu anhu, may Allah be pleased with him or her, right? For Ibn Abbas, why do we say, radiyallahu anhuma, may Allah be pleased with them both? What does that mean? Who can explain? No? We're talking about knowledge, so I'm trying to give you some knowledge. Yes?
Son of Abbas?
Yes? Yes, that is exactly right, Rabbi. Ibn Abbas means what? The son of Abbas. Right? Who was Abbas? The uncle of the Prophet,
Yes.
who was a Muslim. So we say radiyallahu anhu for Abbas. And then, but we're not talking about Abbas radiyallahu anhu. We're talking about his son, Ibn Abbas. So when we say Ibn Abbas, we say radiyallahu anhuma. May Allah be pleased with them both, meaning the son of Abbas and Abbas radiyallahu anhu.
See, that's the result of the knowledge.
Yeah, that's the result of the knowledge, right? You understand?
Yeah. Good.
So that was a tidbit for you. That's very powerful. Now you understand why it's that way. Okay, good. Okay, continue.
So Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu said, every living being, even the fish in the sea, prays to Allah to forgive the one who teaches the people that which is good. In
Yeah.
another report, the same meaning was raised to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Right. For the teacher of knowledge, one who teaches knowledge, even the fish in the sea are seeking istighfar for that teacher. Why? Why? We already understand that how important knowledge is, and then teaching even one person is worth all red camels that ever existed. Obviously, it is such a blessed thing to do, and we will keep learning why this is. So you understand the importance of knowledge? I want all you to be teachers of knowledge, right? And surpass me like by tomorrow. I know nothing, wallahi. Wallahi, I know nothing. I want you all to be much, 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 much better than me, inshallah ta'ala. The fish in the sea are making istighfar and seeking forgiveness for the teacher. Hatta al-hut fil bahr. Okay, continue.
If one asks, why would the fish in the sea pray to Allah to forgive the person who teaches the people all that which is good? The answer is, the benefit of knowledge extends to include everyone, including the fish. This is because scholars came to know the lawful and the forbidden after they have learned, and the Islamic knowledge informs them to advise people to be kind to everything, including all the animals once slaughtered and the fish. It is for this reason Allah inspired all the creatures to pray for their forgiveness to return the favor.
Yes. Knowledge is benefiting everyone, even the fish, right? With knowledge, you know this plastic bottle is harmful to the fish. So the knowledge of a person is going to reduce his use of plastic. Sorry, I'm going on my rant. It's not good. This is not good. It's actually destroying this earth. Okay, but that's a whole different topic. And as Muslims, we're responsible for earth. Just like there is a relationship with Allah and Allah, we have to give His help, right? That's due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as much as we're able. Yeah? Similarly, after Allah, it's His creation. The number one creation, the most important on that list is our parents, right? And then so on and so forth. There's a huge list of human beings. Human beings first, right? After human beings, I don't want to say after, because I don't want to really order it that way. Animals, trees, your environment, keeping things clean, taking care of the generations that will come after. All of the microplastics have killed the fish in the sea. Wallahi subhanahu. Wallahi, it's really sad. If you just watch one documentary, you'll cry. Stop using plastic. Anyway, knowledge is helping the fish, right? Helping the fish, they're making istighfar. Oh Allah, give him more knowledge, give her more knowledge, so that they protect us. It's benefiting everything. So that is why all of the creatures are making istighfar for the teacher of knowledge. Not just the seeker. Right? Go ahead.
It was narrated that Abu Musa al-Ash'ari radiallahu anhu narrated that Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "The example of guidance and knowledge with which Allah has sent me is like abundant rain falling on the earth, some of which was fertile soil that absorbed rainwater and brought forth vegetation and grass in abundance. And another portion of the land was sterile, where the rainwater remained on its surface, and Allah benefited the people with it. They utilized it for drinking, making their animals drink from it, and for irrigation of the land for cultivation. Another portion of it was barren, which could neither hold the water nor bring forth vegetation. The first is the example of the person who...
Yeah, okay. Just speak a little bit louder for the sisters.
Sure.
So here, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is describing types of land and using them as an analogy for... I don't know what's going on. Maybe there's one second. No, this is... Sorry for the distraction. When you speak, maybe you can bring it a little bit closer to you.
Sure.
We'll try. Thank you for your patience. Okay, yeah. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is describing the teachers and those who benefit from the knowledge, the students, as types of land. So the first type of land is what kind of land? The one that when the rain falls on it and it's fertile. So what's going to happen to fertile land when rain falls on it? It's going to sprout vegetation. And that vegetation, who is it going to benefit? All the creatures. Right? So that's one kind of land. The second kind of land is rain falls, but the water just collects on the surface. Right? It doesn't sink, it collects on the surface. No vegetation comes out, right? Because the land is not really fertile, but the water is still there. So is that still beneficial? Yes, it's still beneficial. What is the third type of land? Where it's barren. Where rain falls and the water just gets sucked into the soil and it's still barren, it's dry. So it's not benefiting. right? It's not benefiting. Then Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam explains, the first type is, go ahead. Did you move ahead?
The first is the example of the person who comprehends Allah's religion and gets benefit from the knowledge, which Allah has revealed through me. Hence, he learns and teaches others. The last example is that of a person who does not care for it and does not take Allah's guidance revealed through me. He is like that barren land.
So Rasulullah explained the two types. The first type, the fertile land, that it's like if you're that person, you're absorbing the knowledge, you're fertile, and then you're developing that knowledge, and then you're benefiting others without being asked. You're just wanting to benefit others. You're just getting fruit. You're just getting fruits away, and everybody benefits. Right? Right? May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us from among them. The second type, Rasulullah doesn't explain, but he explains the third type, which is the barren. So I'm going to fill in the second meaning, just from my interpretation. So there are people who are receiving knowledge, and they have all this knowledge, alhamdulillah, to some extent. It's like the water collecting, but it's not really sprouting, meaning they're not actively teaching others. You know, if they're asked a question, they'll go and answer a question, and they might be able to help somebody, but they're not actively teaching. So from this hadith, we learned the importance of teaching, right? You want to be that fertile land that is growing vegetation and benefiting others. The third type, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from that neither knowledge sinks in, you're not interested, rain is falling all around you, and water is just sinking down. It's not benefiting anything. It's not even benefiting the barren land. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us. Continue.
Look, may Allah engulf you with His mercy. How this hadith gives a good account on the examples of the people, i.e. the example of the jurists. The ones with understanding is like the land that accept the rain, water, and brought forth vegetation, because they learned and understood, concluded and taught others. However, the examples of the scholars of hadith who work as transmitters of hadith without being blessed with the bliss of understanding is like sterile land that preserved the water, and so others benefited from the knowledge that they had. As for the ones who heard of the knowledge, but did not learn from it and did not preserve it, they are the ignorant of the people.
Yeah, continue. I've already explained it.
Al-Hasan al-Basri, may Allah have His mercy on him, said, were it not for scholars, people would have become like animals.
If it weren't for scholars, people would be like animals. Why? Al-ulama warathatul anbiya, right? The teachers, the ulama, are the inheritors of the prophets. If you take away the teachers, the scholars, what are you left with? Who's going to guide people? What are they going to be like? Animals. Not anything but better than animals. Why animals? What's wrong with animals? Is there anything wrong with being an animal? Well, and is there anything wrong with an animal, say? No. Is there anything wrong with an animal? No, they're beautiful. They're a creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They're beautiful. A cow, a goat, an ant, a spider. Subhanallah, beautiful, right? They have a purpose. They exist for a purpose. Are they fulfilling their purpose? Yes. Yes, they're fulfilling their purpose. But what do human beings, us, what do we have? We have intelligence, aql. We have basira, insight. We have the ability to pick right from wrong, right? We have ability to learn, and we have ability to teach. So if we are not seeking knowledge, nor are we teaching knowledge, are we fulfilling our purpose? No. Okay. But if it weren't for the scholars to give people knowledge, how would everybody be? How will we be different from a cow? A cow is going to go and wake up in the morning and chew some grass and wait a little bit, and then later on chew some more grass, and the whole day goes by, and it's going to walk around and, meet with its mate or whatever it needs to do, right? Go use the bathroom, And then night falls and it's going to go to sleep and the day starts again. Do we have the same kind of bodily needs? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. What differentiates us from an animal is we are using these other faculties that we should be using, inshallah ta'ala. For what purpose though? For our worldly purpose or for our spiritual purpose? Yes. لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي أَحْسَنِ تَقْوِيمٍ. Allah created the humankind in the best of fashions. So yeah, we won't be any different from animals. If it weren't for teachers and scholars and anybody wasn't teaching me, I'd be no better than an animal. Waking up in the morning, going and earning some money, feeding my stomach, spending time with my wife, taking care of my children, making some more money, going to sleep, entertaining myself, watch some TV and social media, entertain myself, take my mind off and go back to work. Yeah, what kind of life is that? Wallahi, a lot of us have that life. A lot of us. Okay, continue.
Mu'adh ibn Jabal, radiallahu anhu, said, O people, learn the Islamic knowledge, for learning it for the sake of Allah is piety. Seeking it is an act of worship. Mutual study is an exaltation to Allah. Pursuing it is jihad. Teaching it to those who do not know it is charity. And offering it to those who deserve it is a way to draw close to Allah. It is the affable in times of loneliness, and it is the companion during one's seclusion.
So let's take it step by step. This is a very dense and beautiful hadith. Okay? Actually, it's not a hadith. This is a qawl of Mu'adh ibn Jabal radiallahu anhu. He said, teach. Right? Teach knowledge. Because فَإِنَّ تَعْلَمُ اللَّهَ خَشْيَةً, because it teaches the fear of Allah. It puts the fear of Allah in our hearts. Right? Just like we talked about. We wouldn't be any different from animals. If I hadn't told you that, right, or somebody hadn't really explained that to you, you necessarily couldn't have come up with that. Or the laws of inheritance, for example, what is fair, what is not fair. And how we should worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How to even know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Does He have a face? Does He have a body? Should I make an idol for astaghfirullah, right? We wouldn't know this. So the knowledge, teaching knowledge is important because it teaches you how to fear Allah, khashyatullah. It brings the khashya of Allah. What? I lost my. Okay. And seeking knowledge, وَقَلْبُهُ عِبَادَةٌ. And the seeking knowledge is worship. We already know this because the seekers of knowledge are stations of degrees higher than just a worshipper. So seeking knowledge itself is a replacement for worship, in a sense. You understand? And then what madarisatuhu tasbih, and teaching together like we're doing. This is tasbih. This is exalting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is calling out the perfection of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَالْبَحْثُ عَنْهُ jihad. Right? And wanting to seek ilm and searching for knowledge is jihad. Why? Because it's extremely difficult. It's mentally exhausting to find the right answer, to find the right verdict. It's jihad. وَتَعْلِيمُهُ لِمَنْ لَا يَعْلَمُهُ صَدَقَةٌ. And teaching it to who doesn't know it is charity. Wallahi, that's the only reason I'm standing over here. Charity. Yes, Allah will ask me, what did you do with what you learned? I'm teaching it. This charity. Teach people. It's charity. It's a replacement for charity. You see how beautiful? وَبَدْلُوا لِأَهْلِهِ الْقُرْبَى. And then it helps bring people close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَهُوَ الْأَنِيسُ فِي الْوَحْدَةِ. And it entertains you when you're alone. It's your companion. Knowledge is your companion when you're alone. Ask my wife, she'll tell you what I do in my free time. وَصَاحِبُ فِي الْخُلْوَةِ. It's a companion when you are seeking solitude. Okay, inshallah, continue.
Ka'b radiallahu anhu said, Allah revealed to Prophet Musa alayhi salam, O Musa, learn the good and teach it to people, for I will enlighten the graves of who learns it and who teaches it, so they do not feel any kind of estrangement in their graves.
Don't we all want our graves to be lit up? May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us from among them. It's a very lonely place, your grave. Very lonely place. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala show us from His amazing miracles and take away our wahsha. Wahsha. What is wahsha? You know, I don't. Do you know what a phobia is, right? Phobia. Like for example, I have claustrophobia. Okay, so tight, very tight spaces, like extremely tight. For example, you know the closed MRI machine.
Oh my goodness.
Closed MRI machine. I only do open MRI. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen for the technology. Wallahi, if it was closed MRI, I would never go in. I freak out. Claustrophobia in the grave. Dark. Alone. Are you gonna go nuts? Yes, your body might be decaying, but your soul, your ruh is with you. You're feeling all of it. You're seeing all of it. Subhanallah. So, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told Musa, teach people knowledge, because it will help bring radiance in their grave. That I will bring, with that help, radiance and light inside the grave, and it will take away your wahsha when you're freaking out. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make our final abodes in this world a place of sakina and tranquility. Alright, new chapter, inshallah. Continue. We'll go maybe 5 more minutes, inshallah, okay? Is that okay? Are you guys now wanting to seek knowledge?
Yes.
Who is? Oh, I thought this was going to be a really boring and a really dense lesson, because I didn't think I was going to be able to do justice. Wallahi, it's so important. Wallahi, it's so important. Yes, continue, please.
So this is section 2. Seeking knowledge is obligatory. Anas ibn Malik radiallahu anhu narrated that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, it is obligatory, farida on every Muslim to seek knowledge.
Great. By the way, this guy, mashallah, Hnaf, he's wonderful. He's doing a great job. Okay, please, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give all our ajr to him. Okay. And I just literally put him on the spot too. He wasn't prepared for this. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continue to bless him and increase him. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, seeking knowledge is fard. Okay. Of course, I hope we all know that seeking knowledge is fard. When it's salah time, you need to know how to pray. But before you need to know how to pray, you need to know how to do wudu. Right? How are you going to know? What to wear, where to face. All of this is knowledge. Alhamdulillah, we all have that, right? So Ibn Qudama now will explain what does that mean. Okay, continue.
The author of this book, may Allah have mercy on him, said...
Pause. Who's the author of this book?
Ibn Qudama.
No, but Ibn Qudama is saying the author of this book. Huh? Yes. Look at that. Someone who's paying attention, mashallah, subhanallah. It's very nice. But there was somebody in the middle, so which I didn't remind you that you probably forgot. So the original book is Ahya Ulumuddin. By the way, that means revival of Islamic sciences. It's a beautiful story. We'll talk about it another time. But then that book was too large, too voluminous, and it had a lot of weak, invalid narrations in it. Okay, according to some understandings, there's difference of opinion. Anyway, that's a whole different discussion. Okay. Again, Ibn al-Jawzi came. Ibn al-Jawzi, he was a very strict Athari guy. So he took out all of the weak stuff from it and then created another book called Minhaj al-Qasidin, which we're calling this book. This is really not called Minhaj al-Qasidin. So Ibn al-Jawzi wrote Minhaj al-Qasidin. That was still a pretty large book. So Ibn Qudama came is like, okay, this is great, however, I can do something easier. Make it easy for people to do tazkiyah. So as Imam al-Ghazali had a lot of tazkiyah stuff in it, but he had a lot of fiqh in it too. The how to pray, the how to fast, and the how to do this and that. No. So Ibn al-Jawzi kept all of that. But he just took out the invalid narration. So Ibn Qudama did two things. He removed the fiqh part and only left the tazkiyah part in the book, so it's more of a tazkiyah book, number one, and he reorganized the book. He reimagined the book. And so this is why we have this. The actual name of the book we're reading is called Mukhtar Minhaj al-Qasidin. It is the summary of Minhaj al-Qasidin. Yeah. Okay. Just so you understand, and it's 4 volumes. It's available right there. We're on volume 1, chapter 2, maybe. Yeah. And so when he says the author of this book, he could mean 2 people. He could mean Ibn al-Jawzi, one before him, or he could mean Imam al-Ghazali. If I was smart enough, I'll be able to tell you who he means. Wallahu alam, I think he means Imam al-Ghazali. Okay, continue. So the author says,
The scholars differ regarding the types of knowledge referred to in the report. The jurists, fuqaha,
fuqaha.
the jurists said it refers to the knowledge of jurisprudence, ilm al-fiqh, which the lawful halal and which the unlawful haram are known.
Okay, great. Pause. There's a lot here right now. Okay, there's just literally, I could talk for another hour, but I don't want to do that. But I want to just start introducing to you. Fuqaha. What is the difference between ulama and fuqaha? Okay, knowledge is knowledge. Ulama are people of knowledge. Great, that's a general description. When you say fuqaha, you're being technically specific. You're being technically specific. People of knowledge who are jurists, the way it's translated. And that's how it is. Who are jurists? You know lawyers? What do lawyers do? They go to law school and they study the law. They memorize all the case studies, right? And then they are able to then fight on behalf of people or against people, right? They know the law of the state. And you have to, if you move to a different state, you have to go and learn that law. Okay? Great. So if you're a Hanafi jurist, you know only Hanafi law. Okay? But now if you're in a land where there's no Hanafis, there's only, Shafi'is, now you gotta learn again. You gotta go to school again for 10, 15, 20, 30 years and learn that. So the law as it's derived is called fiqh, right? The how, right? How do you pray? How do you do qiyam? Where do you face? How do you do wudu? What if you switch the order of wudu? Let's say you put the water in your nose before the mouth, or you didn't wash your hands before. Are you supposed to wash your hands before or not? Or let's say you started from the left hand and instead of the right hand side. Is that valid? Like those kinds of, you see the hypothetical? It's endless. It's an ocean. It's an ocean. And people have those questions in certain situations. You know, is Bitcoin halal? Can I go get a bank loan from Bank of America? Is that okay in this case? Can I do this? Can I do that? Do I have to wear a topi every time I come to, do I pray? Okay, those kinds of things. Okay, so I was telling you now, reeling back, sorry, I went off a little bit, I'm pulling myself back. Ulama, general term, right? Scholars, scientists. By the way, ulama actually means scientists. Just as a side note for you. You know this, the pinnacle of the golden age of Islam, where people were coming from the west, east, south, north, everywhere to learn from Muslims. You know, they were not learning English, they were learning what language were they learning so that they could attend university. Arabic. That's why everybody knew Arabic. SubhanAllah. That was just 1,000 years ago, by the way. Not too long ago. Okay, anyways. Those people in universities, you know the sciences they were learning? They were called ulama because not only they were learning dini knowledge, they were also learning optics and physics and chemistry and math and whatnot. That's why they were called ulama. So the students back then, and eventually they became the teachers, they were what are called nowadays polymaths. Polymaths meaning people who are experts in multiple subjects. Polymath. Right? They're not just scholars of hadith, they're scholars of law, they're scholars of tafsir. And at the same time, he's a doctor, and he's a tabib, and he's prescribing medication, and he knows pharmacy. And by the way, he knows how to, he's an astronomer too. He's an expert astronomer. And he's teaching people astronomy. Those are the people. Those are ulama. You understand? Fuqaha now, very, very specific. Those who know Islamic law. By Islamic law in their school. Right? There's very few people who know multiple schools. There's no such thing. Hardly anyone. Okay. So this is what he explains. So فَقَالَ الْفُقَهَا, he says that the fuqaha, those who know fiqh, they say, now going back to the hadith, Rasulullah ﷺ said, seeking knowledge is obligatory. So now the fuqaha are saying, what kind of knowledge is obligatory? They're explaining, it's fiqh knowledge, the how you pray and how you do wudu. That is important. Of course, that's their area of expertise, so that's what they're going to say. Then he says, and this is all, inshallah, we will end in inshallah 1 minute or less. هو علم الفقه إذ به يعرف الحلال والحرام. Because علم الفقه teaches you what is halal and what is haram. That is why seeking knowledge is mandatory. There's other opinions too, inshallah, we will continue.